Chapter 8. Soon I found out more about this flower. Flowers on the planet of the Little Prince were always very plain. They had one layer of petals. They didn't occupy territories or hurt anyone. They broke out in the grass in the morning and faded peacefully in the evening. Once a new flower grew up from an unknown seed, and the Little Prince watched very carefully a new sprout that was so unlike any other on the planet. You know, it could be a new sort of baobab tree. Soon the bush stopped growing and prepared for a flower to open. The Little Prince, who was present during the first breaking open of a huge bud, knew immediately it would be something marvelous. But the flower didn't want to stop beautifying itself in the shadows of the grass. The beauty was choosing colors very carefully. It was improving its petals one by one. It didn't want to arrive ragged as field poppies. It wanted to be beautiful. Oh yes, it was a teasing flower. And its mysterious improvement had been happening for days. Then one morning at dawn it showed itself at last. And after such a hard work it yawned and said, "Ah, I just woke up. Excuse me. My lapels are a mess." "You look so beautiful." "Do I?" The flower replied kindly. "I was born at the moment when the sun—" The Little Prince realized at once that it wasn't modest at all, but it was so touching and alluring. "I think it's time to have breakfast," it added in a minute. "Would you be so kind and take care of me?" The completely bewildered Little Prince went to look for a watering can. So he looked after the flower. In no time it started to exhaust him with its self-admiration that was hard to deal with. For example, once, when it was talking about its 4 thorns, it said to the Little Prince, "Tigers had better not come to me with their claws." "There are no tigers on my planet," the Little Prince objected. "Anyway, tigers don't eat weeds." "I am not a weed," the flower replied softly. "Please excuse me." "I am not afraid of tigers at all," it continued, "but I am horrified by droughts. I hope you will cover me with a screen." Fear of droughts is a very bad quality for a flower, the Little Prince pointed out. He added to himself, "This flower is a very complicated creature." "I want you to cover me with a glass shade at night. It's very cold here. The place I went from—" But it interrupted itself. It arrived here as a seed. It couldn't know anything about other worlds. The flower was confused to be caught while nearly lying, so it coughed 2 or 3 times in order to distract the Little Prince. "Screen? I was just going to look for it when you started talking to me." Then it coughed louder on purpose so he would feel guilty. The Little Prince started to doubt the beauty in spite of his love for the flower. He took the words seriously that were not important, and because of this he felt unhappy. "I shouldn't have listened to her," he confessed once. "Flowers shouldn't be listened to. They should be looked at and smelled. The smell of my beauty could be felt all over the planet, but I didn't know how to enjoy its gracefulness. The story about claws, that was bothering me, had filled my heart with tenderness and sympathy." He continued his confession. "The thing is, I didn't know how to react. I should have judged actions, not words. It attracted me with its fragrance and gorgeousness. I should have never run away from it. I should have seen the love that was hiding under its tiny, unhappy tricks and games. Flowers are so contradictory, but I was too young to know how I should love her." Chapter 9. I believe that he left his asteroid in the same way as a flock of birds would do. One morning after his discovery, he cleaned his planet thoroughly. He scrubbed his volcanoes carefully. He had 2 active volcanoes. They were very useful for heating his breakfast. He had 1 dead volcano as well, but as he said, "You never know for sure." That's why he scrubbed the dead volcano too. When volcanoes are well scrubbed, they burn slowly and consistently without eruptions. An eruption of a volcano is like a fire in a house where a chimney is blocked with soot. On our planet Earth, we are clearly too small to clean volcanoes. That is why they cause us endless problems. The Little Prince, rather melancholy, extracted the last baobab sprouts. He thought he would never want to come back, but during the last day, all those habitual actions seemed so precious to him. When he was watering the flower for the last time and about to cover it with the glass shade, he realized he was going to cry. "Goodbye," he said to the flower, but it didn't reply. "Goodbye," he repeated. The flower coughed, but not because of a cold. I have behaved stupidly, the beauty said at last. I am sorry. Try to be happy. He was surprised that it didn't blame him. The little prince was confused whilst he was holding the glass shade. He didn't understand its calm good nature. Of course I love you, said the flower. It is my fault you didn't know about this, but it doesn't matter. But you behaved as stupidly as I did. Try to be happy and leave the glass shade. I don't need it any more. But the wind. My cold is not so dangerous. A cold night wind is useful for me. I am a flower. But animals? Well, I need to accept 2 or 3 caterpillars if I want to get to know butterflies. They seem to be very beautiful. Who will speak to me if there are no caterpillars or butterflies? You will be far away. As to big animals, I am not afraid of them. I have my own claws. He showed me its 4 thorns naively. It added then, Don't hesitate. You decided to leave, so leave. Because the flower didn't want him to see how it was crying, it was a very proud flower.